Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Yeah, so I was making a introduction pretty much, just letting everyone know that you're back on after, all the success we had with the first one. I figured that we continue the conversation going.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we pretty much have these conversations pretty frequently. They're just never recorded. So I figured today, of all days, we could definitely go ahead and get that started just so we can give the people what they've been asking
Let's
for.
get it.
So to start it off, we have a list of like 5 topics, which we wanted to cover. Pretty much, we thought that they were the most important at the time, especially because of what's happening currently in our demographic. It just made the most sense to have these conversations.
Yeah.
So, without much further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't even know which one you want to start with because I feel like either direction we go is going to be good. So, did you have anything in mind that you wanted to start with?
It don't matter to me, but I would say the sexual market value. That would be
Okay.
my favorite topic right there.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Definitely, we could do that. I think what's interesting about the sexual market value, which I think gets overlooked a
Mhm.
lot, it actually relates to men and women. Most people will see it as it just being something that the woman has, but to me, it's both. Men have it as well, and because men have it as well, it's all based on their ability to keep themselves pretty much, I would say, valuable in terms of society.
Yeah.
This is why I think that men should always have a clear conscience in terms of what they do. If your sexual value is literally just wrapped up in you having money, how is that supposed to benefit anyone? You know what I mean? Like nowadays, women can have their own money, they can have access to their own things. But if you don't have nothing else to offer besides just your wallet or besides just your dick, like, is that really offering much?
No, it's not.
You
And
know?
then when you lead with that, you attract that, right? So
Mm,
you're not
yes.
gonna attract someone who's willing to grow with you. You're gonna attract someone who's attracted to that and using that,
Yeah,
using your money
that's
and
true.
wanting to just be around you because you have money. And if you fall on hard times, that person's gonna be gone. They're not gonna see
That's
any
so
value
true.
in you anymore because what attracted them to you was that.
That's also why they tell you do not chase, what is it? Don't chase women, chase your purpose or
Yeah,
something like
just
that.
chase
Your
your purpose.
purpose will always be
Yeah, your
there.
purpose is always going
But,
to be there, and then you're going to find that
yeah,
woman on your way to your purpose anyway. When you're doing positive things, you
absolutely.
find the right person on your way to
Absolutely.
there.
And that's how you know a woman is truly right for you when you're in that type of space. Which to me is interesting because so many people get caught up thinking that, like I said on the last podcast we did about being a man is based on how much women you have, but in reality, it's based on how much you can actually make yourself valuable and be disciplined during that same time.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because as I was doing a little bit of research today while I was at work, I saw something about um, men having sexual market value. It doesn't really start until they get a little bit older because by that point they already have a lot more wisdom
yeah,
compared to them being the young 20-year-old thinking that, oh well, I could get a girl because I got game. That shit really doesn't have an effect because it really doesn't take effect until you're old enough to see the true value of who you are. By then you already know where you want to be in terms of your career.
hmm,
You already know where you want to be in terms of settling down, and in terms of your future you already have it all mapped out.
yeah. You're more
But think
more
about your
mature, and you're not. You're
exactly.
less likely to actually
Ex-
like play with a girl and waste a woman's time.
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Because if you think about how it is when you're 20 compared to how it is when you're 31 or 32, it's a completely different game.
Completely different
Like,
mindset.
at that time, you're ready to settle down. You know the importance of family. You have way more experience than someone that's 20 that's thinking that life is all about going to clubs, going to parties,
Mash your
hanging out with
tits.
this person, hanging out with that person. You just got to elevate yourself. And I think that's why it's so important, you know?
It's very very
And
important.
absolutely. Hands down. To me, it's like one of the most important things in life. I just wish that, we don't take this stuff for granted because I think so many of us feel like we always have time and why we could always just do whatever we want. Like we were talking earlier about the Sierra situation and
Yeah.
how that may not be the reality for everyone because not everyone is going to come across a guy that will be like Russell Wilson that can give them that type of momentum or that type of opportunity to step their game up while they're able to still get someone that wants to accept them for who they are.
Yeah, and
And I
and from what I've seen, at least this is from the outside looking in when it comes to the Sierra Russell Wilson
mhm,
situation. Like, of course, she comes with her own. Like, she's not coming empty handed. She's not coming with her cup empty. You know what I'm saying? She comes with something. She brings
Mm,
something to the table outside of her vagina, right?
mm.
And on top
That's
of
deep.
that, like from what the image that she's been portraying, she's also spiritually grounded. And that's another piece of
Hmm.
the puzzle that, or the piece of the, yeah, the piece of the puzzle that like I think a lot of people miss, like the spiritual level of it. Once you're spiritually grounded, it kind of governs your actions accordingly, like when it comes to everything else. So now, like, you're not going to be taking certain risks or like making certain decisions as a man or a woman that like would jeopardize your greater goal or your greater, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole picture as far as your family and shit like that. But people don't necessarily see that part. They just see the picture and be like, "Oh, I want that." You know what I'm saying? Like, or "Oh yeah, I want a guy who's willing to like accept me for me with my all my kids or whatever the case may be." Like, nah, it might not be like that for you because you're coming with
Yeah,
baggage. Sierra's not necessarily coming with that same baggage that you might be coming with. She didn't
I
come to
agree.
him asking him to take care of her kid. Like, he's able to do it, but she can do that on her own. It's something deeper than that.
I agree. And I think that's why it gives her such an opportunity to have so much more respect. Like I told you earlier, like people call Russell Wilson a simp. I don't even agree with it because to me, it's like, how is he a simp for stepping up to do what every man should do if you're in that position? You're dealing with the woman with the child. Are you not supposed to take care of her child? Are you
That
supposed to ignore her and act like her child doesn't exist?
that's part of what you
Like,
signed
I don't care
up
how
for.
bad I want a woman, but it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what you sign up for when you deal with a woman with a child. Like
Exactly.
that's what you sign up for.
Exactly.
Unless
And
she
to me,
hides
it
the
should be
child for
considered
you,
a
that's what you sign
non-negotiable.
up for. Simple. Like so, you have to
Exactly.
step up into that role. And then, like as far as the simp thing, I can't see him as a simp either, unless it was a situation in which he was taking care of her and the kid, and she was just out here doing whatever the hell she wanted to do. You get what I'm saying? Like then it's like okay, he's simping, but
Yeah.
that's not the case.
Yeah.
And again,
I agree.
she brings something to the table of value outside of her vagina. And that is a
That's
very
the biggest
major
factor.
point that a lot of people miss. Because girls make the
I think
mistake
for
thinking
those
that their
men,
vagina is their highest like asset and the biggest. Not, you know what I'm saying is true though. Like, oh, not
now you're
until he
right.
gets this, pussy, blah 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 blah. Not until he gets this. Like, okay, all right,
See, but that's why I think those men hate on him so much because it's like a reflection of themselves,
facts.
right? So because of their childhood being surrounded by their fathers not really stepping up or the stepfather not stepping up and the mother not requiring it, they dealt with men in their lives that really didn't give a fuck about
Yeah,
them. And some
facts.
women would literally neglect their children all for the sake of trying to have a new man there and thinking that the new man is going to be this responsible figure that's going to be able to wipe out and take care of everything else. But that's not how it
No,
works. But that's how it creates. It's like a cycle. They can't break that cycle because every time they see a man like Russell Wilson step up, they see themselves and they realize how much they hated the situation that they ended up being in.
yeah.
That's
And
all
they
it
just
is.
wish that he would
You know what
continue
I
that
mean?
cycle, that vicious cycle of why couldn't he just be like what I dealt with, or why couldn't he just be like me?
Nah,
Nah, bro,
nah,
it's not always
nah.
like that, bro.
Anytime you see a man like Russell Wilson step up, best believe that means that that man has done his work and that man is ready to show the world that he's accountable. They don't want to see a guy like him step up because it's easy to be the futures of the world. If I could easily be a bum ass dude for the rest of my life and never have to worry about nothing, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to me. Yeah, they might complain, well, why don't you step up and why don't you be a man? But at the end of the day, I'm still a bum. Y'all still accepting it and you're not doing nothing about it. That's how it is for future. Just like how we were talking earlier about the women that continuously have sex with Future. You continuously have sex with the man that you know cannot do nothing for you but provide money. But that's not all that a man is. So naturally, when you look at a guy like him, you think that he's the problem. But you don't realize that sometimes it's the women that force themselves to stay in these situations that end up in these toxic situations. This is why so many women that we probably even went to high school with or women that we even know personally, oh, well, this guy tricked me. This guy played on me.
Nah,
No, he already showed you who he was, but you never wanted to
or
accept it. You wanted to think that you could change him and you could
that's
manipulate him
ego.
and make things
That's
different.
ego.
Yeah, but how does that work?
That's
You know?
ego. And the thing is, I think personally that it's deeper than
Mm-hmm.
that. I think it's more so an attention thing. I think some of these girls, especially the ones that go after Future, like at this point, you can't
Mm.
say that you didn't know or whatever the fuck else. Like you can't say that because it's very, very known. So if you're going over there and you're still choosing to have sex with this man, without a condom, knowing what the consequences could be. I mean, forget pregnancy. Like, you know he's out here. So you smashing this dude raw, knowing full well like all the diseases and shit that's out here, and you're still doing it. So that it's an attention thing. I believe it's an attention thing. Like, oh, I want to be talked about on the blogs or what's that Instagram joint? Shade Room. I want to be talked about. I want to be posted about. I want to be able to do this. I want to get my followers up. Like, that's like the new drug, bro.
Wow.
Like, that's the new drug. Attention is the new drug.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
That takes it back to that victim mentality mindset too.
Yeah, that's what they.
I mean, people want to be victims. They want to complain so much about how other people created their reality, all because of the lack of accountability.
Yeah, and the decisions that they make.
Like, it's sad. It's so sad because I feel like we have so much more power than just placing blame on others, especially when we can make changes and fix the things that we need to fix. But if you're blaming people, if you're not taking personal accountability, it's never going to be something that you can work through.
Someone else's fault.
And this is why we have, and this is why we have so many people out here that are just constantly damaged. You know, they're wondering why they can't move forward in life and why they're stuck. But
and then guess what happens? You know? This is the part that really like upsets me and saddens me. This is what happens. These people procreate, and unfortunately, a lot of these women be having daughters. And guess what happens in those instances? They continue the cycle. Because best believe, the shit that she does, she's going to teach her daughter in the same way. And now her daughter's going to come up believing that a man's only purpose is for whatever the case, whatever her mom uses men for. And especially since when they decide to have babies by all these dudes who they know is not going to be there, her first encounter with men in any real way is when she starts dating them. And by that time, she already has this distrust. She already has, you know what I'm saying, all these issues that her mom probably instilled in her. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just, the cycle just continues.
Yeah. And there's no need to stop it because you already see how much grief it can give you, how much sympathy. You know, anytime a guy comes through, he knows that you're a single mother. He's going to try to be more soft as far as understanding. You know, she's going through things all on her own and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, how do we overcome this? But if you think about it too, it speaks back to the scarcity mindset. Basically, like how men are too afraid. Like they feel like they can't find anything better than what they. See, I'm
gonna keep it so real with you, bro.
Okay, go ahead.
Personally, I've been a part of that. Like I've had the scarcity mindset myself. I've been in situations myself that I know good and goddamn well I should have like not been in or should not have stayed in as long as I did, based off of that scarcity mindset. Just got out of a relationship recently off of that. Because I'm thinking like, I was saying I just got out of a relationship recently off of that.
Sorry, you cut.
You get what I'm saying? Like, that again? I had to realize within myself that it's a scarcity mindset. Like I have such tunnel vision when I'm in a relationship or whatever. Even if like bad stuff is going on and toxic ass behaviors are happening, it's like, yo, like, but I'd rather have bad times with her than, you know, the unknown. Like I don't know what else is out there. You get what I'm saying? Because the tunnel vision. And it's not a really good mindset, and really I lost my sense of self-worth and like knowing how much I was worth, because it's like, bro, like when I really take a step back and look at myself, it's like I have all these accolades and I have all these things and I know my purpose. So why would I even subject myself to certain things? You know, can't call it love, can't call it, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, love of self has to come before anything else.
That's true. And that's where self-love comes in, you know, because if you love yourself, if you have that love for yourself, you already know this isn't love. You know, self-love is also protecting yourself from things that are going to harm you in the long term. You know, it's crazy because we're not taught these things. But as we grow older, that experience of getting our heart broken and going through the same, you know, issues with women where there's no trust or where there's problems that come up, this is why it comes into play, you know. And there's this book that Lisa and I have been reading. Is called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. That book touches on so fucking much. Literally, it says that when you grow up and you have parents that neglect you, they don't give you the attention that you deserve, you're going to force yourself to grow up faster in terms of trying to get married, trying to have babies, trying to do anything you can just to feel love, because you want to know what it feels like to have that experience. You think that since you've been doing it all on your own for all that while, that, oh, well, I could just go ahead and keep doing what I've been doing. I mean, naturally, it should just work because now I'm able to get what it is I miss. And this is why I think that when we have children, we have to be mindful of us neglecting them, because the more you neglect the child, the more that child is going to go out and try to find other means of trying to make a connection. And this is why we see so many young kids getting pregnant. You know, they always wanted to know what it felt like to have the love of a father or the love of a man. So they get with this older dude. This older dude gives them attention. This older guy is able to nurture them in such a way that a father is supposed to. Not that he's nurturing them, but their brains are
Mhm.
not functioning well enough to the extent that they can accept that. But this is why we end up in those situations. Same thing with boys. I'm not gonna lie, I was into that stuff heavy. I mean, growing up, I didn't really have my mother there for me the way that my mother should have been. So I got into situations where I thought, like, damn, maybe this is love because this is what my mother was supposed to show me, but my mother didn't show it to me.
Mhm.
So naturally, your whole wiring, as far as
Mhm.
relationship goes, it's surrounded by you being surrounded by toxicity, because you thought, oh, well, if I could keep my mother around me and my mother has basically treated me like shit, maybe I should stay in this relationship and I could be treated like shit and it's okay. And it's literally the same reason why you see so many people staying in relationships now. You know, when they're kids, you have parents teaching their children, oh, well, it doesn't matter if this parent did something bad to you, that's still your mother. And you know, in African society, that's like
Yeah.
the biggest thing. That's still your mother no matter what. That's still your father no matter what. So as a kid, you grow up, you become an adult, you start to accept it, because now this is my wife no matter what. This is my girlfriend no matter what. No matter how much she disrespected me in public, I'm still going to love her the same way because that's still my wife. So it's a cycle. But this is why we have to stop that stuff as soon as we see it. Because the moment we recognize what's happening,
It only gets
that's the
worse.
moment
It only
we
gets
have to
worse.
put an end
And
to it.
like for
If
me,
you
it was
don't,
more so like the hope
beware.
that
You're
it
going to
would
go through
get
some
better.
shit. Exactly.
It was more so that because what happened with me in my situation is that
Mm,
toxic things will happen, bad things will happen, and I would just stop talking to the person, and what would end up happening is she would come back and apologize, and the apology would seem very sincere, and because the way I am, it's like I don't want to just give up on someone so easily like that. I'm thinking like, okay, the apology's sincere, all right, bet. I'm not a callous person. I'm willing to, see if we can work on things. But then the next time any friction comes up, the behavior gets worse and then worse and worse, because the way a lot of women conceptualize things
damn.
is like, okay, well, we're still together and I did that, so he must be cool with it. So I'm gonna just do it again.
Mm,
Because
that's,
there was nothing that
yeah.
happened to make me feel like I
It's
shouldn't
so
handle the
true.
situation that way.
It's so true.
Because we're still here. He's still here. So clearly he must like it. That's the way they be thinking about
Yep.
that type of stuff,
Hmm.
man. It's
Yeah.
so like, I'm telling you, like if you talk to their friends, they'll be like, well, she said that she talks to you like that all the time. So and then you'll be thinking like, but shit, when you apologize for something, that's supposed to
What?
signify that you did
See?
something wrong, you're not gonna do it again, right? No, that it doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always work that way.
Mhm. See, and this is where we get wrong, because again, we get so caught up in the fact that we're thinking that words have more value than someone's actions. And
Yes,
that's why they
indeed.
always say the best apology is change behavior. Once you see that
And
someone can
not
change
temp- it has to be
their
consistent.
actions based on
Exactly.
what they do
Exactly.
consistently, then that tells you everything. Yeah. And that's why I've always told you personally that I feel like if someone is consistently doing the same thing over and over, just say good luck to that person, because they're never going to change who they are. Once an adult reaches their prime or their core ages or whatever the case you want to call it, they never change from that, because
Mm.
that's already established. You know, there's no way they can go against who they are naturally, because that's them. That's them. And it's why, again, so many adults are in the position they're in. Frederick Douglass even said it too. It's easier to, I think it's for
Absolutely. I
prepare
mean, that sounds about right,
a
because
child
you got
than
to think
an
about it.
adult.
Like,
I
think
think
about how hard
that's
it
the
is to
quote.
get adults to change their behavior. Think about like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, even to like think about like people who
yeah,
have like
right.
kids, right? Because I know, like, I have friends who were kids, and when we were kids or whatever, they would have temper tantrums, and
Hmm.
like my African friends that had the temper tantrums, their parents, snapped that
Mm.
shit out of them real quick. You know what I'm saying, with the iron hand. But the other ones who did not, like, they kind of talked to them or like whatever else, and didn't really like stamp out the behavior. And I'm not saying beating kids is the only way to stamp out a behavior. I'm just saying I've seen it where like certain things did not get eradicated out of them, and it only grew when they got older, to the point where that's the only way they knew how to handle any type of adverse situation, is to throw a tantrum, and it only got worse. One of our friends we went to high school with, it happened to him, and he ended up getting kicked
That's
out,
true.
and that ended up having
And
a
that's how
downward
kids.
spiral.
See,
Absolutely.
that's how it goes. Because I was gonna say, kids learn manipulation too, based on that.
Absolutely.
And as they grow
And
up as
it's not
adults,
just
it's
women;
the
it's men
same
and women
cycle
that
that
learn
creates.
manipulation at a young
Same
age.
cycle that
It
happens.
ain't just women.
I mean, that's the
Women are
thing.
better
Like,
at it, but it's
of course,
not just women.
of course. I know. Yeah, I know men that do it so well that they could literally sell you a dream, and you'll be sitting there wondering, like, "Damn, how am I going to get
See,
this
and
to happen?"
that
And it'll
goes into
convince you
what you
well enough
were
that
that goes
it'll
into
be the
what you were saying
reality when it's
about
not. But that's why things like
the
that happen.
pre-selection thing. Because like what I was gonna say about that is like about men selling dreams.
Pre-selection,
Like I
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
feel like it's not 100% every situation, but I feel like a lot of women, they know when they're being sold a dream. It's just that they like the dream that they're being sold, and they want to go along for the ride sometimes. But a lot of women,
Yeah,
exactly, and a lot of women don't
yeah.
like to take
They're
accountability. So
convinced
their
of the
default
idea
is like,
instead of the
okay, even if it
reality.
does go bad, it's his fault anyway. He was a fuck boy. He did this. He did that. Yeah, but you knew he was a promoter and that he was around women all the time
Imagine
anyway
that.
before you started messing with him. You know what I'm saying? Like you knew that part. So it's just like, oh, but you know, he sold me this dream. Blah 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 blah. Okay.
Nah, you're right. You're right. I mean, that's why, like I always say again, you got to be mindful. Like, I get it. We all want to have fun. We all want to do whatever we think is cool. But at the same time, you have to be respectful of the fact that you're playing with people's hearts, people's emotions and all that stuff.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
what you think may not mean anything to you may mean everything to that next person. And for people that take things seriously, they fall in
And then
love
it can turn
deeply,
into like
or they're
fatal
emotionally connected
attraction,
to
and
people
it
and
can
stuff like
turn into
that,
a
it
really bad
easily creates a
situation.
void for them. And this is why,
It's real.
yeah,
It's
yep,
real.
yep. That's for a fact. I think, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's why we just got to be careful. Like, it's not all about just, just trying to play the field and do all that stupid shit. And I get it, because again, when you're young, that's how it goes. Like, literally, that's what the sexual market value is. You try to make yourself appear the best. You try to have all the best qualities and all the best things that you think so and so may want. So you do what you think is necessary. But as you get older, especially for us men, as we get older, our mindset literally changes. We don't have time to keep playing those games because we know our best years are when we're older. For women, it's when they're younger. That's why a
They
lot
still
of
can
older guys
procreate
get with younger
without
women, because they
issues.
still, keep themselves in shape. They still, yeah, exactly. They still take care of themselves too, because a lot of them, they watch their bodies. Not that to me that matters so much, but they know that if she's slim in some people's eyes, then she's more active. She can, move around a little bit more. If she does have children, I know
Yep.
she'll be more involved with them. She won't really have to worry about being limited to just being in the house or on the couch, anything. So it's just like a consistent, battle back and forth, back and forth, back and forth of why, that thing is so important. And I'm happy we touched bases on that today, because so much of when we hear about sexual market value, it's literally just about women. A woman has to be able to
Yes.
always keep
That is
herself
very
up. A
true.
woman has to be able to do this, da 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 da. But a man has to do the same thing as well. You know what I mean? Like, this is why going to the barbershop is so important. You got to get your hair cut at least every 2 weeks, if
You have to
possible.
be
You got to trim
presentable.
your
You got
beard.
to be
You got to cut
presentable.
your nails. You got to do everything. You still got to dress and look according to who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or strive
Represent
to
for who
that.
you want to be, or who you wish you were, if it comes down to that. So that takes, yeah, exactly. That takes me into the next point too, about partnership, because I remember earlier when we were talking about partnership and why, like,
I
relationships and
think,
marriages fail so
yeah.
much.
I
I
think
think
like
people just don't know how to be
for
partners anymore,
me
man.
in my
What you think?
life, sports really helped me learn how to like be and play on the team and be like and learn partnership, like, and rely on somebody else's strengths, and like knowing my own strengths, and like playing to your limitations, and you know what I'm saying, like just playing that role. Like it taught me that, and I learned, and I always say that example to you all the time, like, yo, like a lot of these girls didn't play sports, and it shows. Like it's very clear that they don't know how to like be part of a team because they think everything's supposed to be done for them and everything like is somebody else's fault. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you're playing in a pickup game and something happens, you mess up, you like, my bad. Like, that's a very small example, but it's deep. It's big because it's taking accountability and it's showing the other people on your team that, look, I messed up. I know I messed up. I apologize for it, and I'm gonna do better. Sometimes that in a relationship, sometimes that's all you need to hear from your partner sometimes. And people don't even want to do that, even when they know they're wrong.
That's the crazy part. Because I feel like, again, as a leader, especially as a leader on a team, you can't blame the other person. I mean, yeah, we know quarterbacks that do that all the time, like the Aaron Rodgers or the Ben Roethlisbergers of the world. But even still, you have to take accountability. You're the quarterback. You're the face of the franchise. Everything relies on you. Whether you did it or not, you're still that vocal leader, which is supposed to step up to be a part of the example of what's happening, you know? It's the same thing why you can see so many relationships really just don't hold the longevity. Like, we look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, say what you want about them, but deep down, they were able to become such a great couple based on the fact that Jay-Z did what he did. Solange slapped the shit out of him. He
I feel
still
like
came back and accepted his part in that.
Yep.
You know, that whole 444
He
album will
owned
literally
it.
be my
He
best
apologized
album
for it. He
for
made
that
up
very
for
reason.
it. He
No
took
excuses.
his lumps.
He owned it.
And he made up for that
He
shit.
could have made excuses.
And they feed off of each other. They help each other. They're like a true power couple. They're a couple. They're a team, son. Like, Beyonce was good all by herself. She was fine. She brought a whole lot to the table, and so did Jay-Z. And they put their minds together, and they have a legacy that they're building, starting from them. And it's together. They're building it together, and that's the thing. Like, they work as a team. We gotta understand, like, and especially when you're black, whether you're from the Caribbean, UK, Africa, whatever. When you're black, the stacks are already up against you. The system is already built not for you, in spite of you. So in that circumstance, having the self-awareness of knowing that, you have to be able to work as a team. You have to. Otherwise, the institution of marriage is only going to be to your detriment, regardless as to whether you are a woman and taking alimony or child support. Like, at the end of the day, somebody's suffering from that, whether it's your kids or whatever the case may be. Somebody's going to be suffering from that. Whether it's your kids not having FaceTime with their father or growing up to resent their father because they're not with their mother, whatever the case may be, the attention being split and having to like travel between houses and all that other stuff, whatever the case may be. And then with the father, he's having resentment for the mom and all that stuff. Like, it's a situation that don't have to be that way. It just doesn't. We got to be able to like have like a sense of like camaraderie and like teamwork when it comes to relationships, and being able to depend on each other and not be always like thinking about, oh, if the worst happens. Like, nah, like, have a better mentality about that type of stuff, or don't play in that game. Don't jump in that field at all. If you're not going to have the right mentality about it, don't jump in the field, because you're only going to lose.
That's true.
And it's going to be a living hell for you.
Yeah. And I feel like when you think about it from the defeatist mindset already, there's no way you're going to win, because already you're putting yourself already in obstacles.
So you've manifested
that may not even occur, but you're not thinking positively already. So your mind is already experiencing a roadblock. Just like you said, you manifested it. You created your own reality. So you're already aware that, you know what, I think something's going to get in my way. So I'm already not going to give him my best. I know that I'm eventually going to get a divorce. Or I know eventually I'm going to cheat. So I'm just going to just not even give it my best
because
now,
it's like,
while I have the effort to do that.
Why?
You know how stupid that is? Like, that's... Yeah, it's true. But I mean, again, to me, taking it back to how we were raised as African men in the United States, literally, our concept as Africans have always been, it takes a village. It's not just a singular, oh, one person's going to do it, and what one person can't do, then the other person will never, ever do it. No, it takes a village, meaning that everybody that's a part of our community is going to make an effort to see us succeed, to watch us get to the highest level, and to watch us become the most beautiful thing that we can become. I remember when you came over for the gender reveal, like, literally, you were probably like the only person that showed up outside of my family. And I pretty much loved every single moment of that, because that taught me that it's not always about who you may be close to or who you may be connected with, but it's the ability of knowing that you guys can come together and you guys can stand up for a common goal and
Yeah.
you guys can watch it become something of success. And that's what it's all about for me. You know what I mean? That's such a blessing. To this day, I even talked to Lisa about how impressed I am at the fact that you came through for me at a time when I needed it the most, because like I said, no one even came. And I get it, coronavirus is
Yeah.
in effect, and I didn't really want to invite that many people because I was kind of worried that there would be too many people there and everything
No
else.
problem, bro.
But you still made the effort and you did what you did. And for that, I'm grateful for that, because it shows exactly what it's about
Absolutely,
as
man.
far as it taking a village. And I would do the same thing for you in a heartbeat, without a doubt. But that's what a community space is, and that's what allows us to be able to function how we function. And you can literally see that same effect within a relationship. It's just by doing the same things, just to ensure that, you know what, I know that things may not be right now, but let me do the best that I can
Hmm.
just to give you whatever is necessary. There's been plenty of
Yep.
times where we've gone out to eat at restaurants. Don't worry about paying, bro. I got you.
Yeah.
I'll take care of this. This is my reward to you. Let me take care of you. And that's what it's about. You claim you
I
got
mean,
friends, you claim you got family, you love them, you want to do this and you want to do that with them, but why can't we take care of people? How can you be in a relationship with
see,
someone, lay down with
like
someone,
in
have
my
sex with them,
lifetime, I'm
create a
gonna be
life with
so
them,
real
and
with
not
you right
even
now.
give a
In my
fuck?
lifetime,
How?
I feel like I've only been in one relationship where I
Uh-huh.
really felt like we actually worked as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my longest lasting relationship. And when I say that, I mean it like this. Like, there were different
Wow.
periods during the relationship where I was out of a job. I was broke as a joke, and she was working. She had money, and she would like look out for me financially. And then when I was up and she didn't have it like that, I would look out for her
Mm.
financially. But we just knew that we would do that for each other. Like, it wasn't a thing like where you had to ask, or like, we just knew we had each other's back in that type of way. You get what I'm saying? And like, when I look back at it, it's like, yeah, I do remember like during those times. I mean, it was little shit like cell phone bills and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But back then, people was racking up like $300 like cell phone bills and stuff like that by not paying for it a long time or whatever. But it just kind of showed that, look, we got each other's back, which kind of like ties me into like the whole gender roles thing. And like, whenever I talk to girls about the gender roles thing, they be like, oh, here you come with that African shit, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, it's not even about like an African thing or whatever. Like, everybody believes in gender roles. We might not consciously all believe in it, but we do believe in it. If a girl's in the house with a dude and it's 3 o'clock at night and someone breaks into the house, she's not running down there by herself. She's gonna wake up the man of the house and be like, yo, I heard something. If a tire breaks down while y'all driving, some girls would be like, oh, I have AAA. Yeah, but you're not gonna go out there yourself. You're gonna have him go out there. There are just certain things that we can do that you can't, and there are a lot of things that y'all can do that we can't. Women are naturally more nurturing. That's just how it's always been. We all know this. I don't know why, like, for some reason America tries to make us forget that that's what it is. But like, women are more nurturing. So like, their nurturing roles, everything that comes underneath nurturing, like nutrition, food, cooking, like that type of stuff, normally would be something that a woman could do. Not to say that a man can't do it and shouldn't do it. He can, and I'm not saying that me as a person I wouldn't do it, but it's like, yo, like, if it's your strength, play to your strengths. What's wrong with that? You in a relationship, who cares about what other people think? You in a relationship,
That's true.
play to your strengths.
Everybody has to play to their
And
advantage.
it blows me because a lot of these girls, they subconsciously be like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not da 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 da, but you still
Mm-hmm.
want the man to provide though. Because you won't mess with him if he doesn't. You still want that man to be able to protect you, whether it's psychologically, physically, whatever the case may be. You still want him to do that, and you want him to do that without you having to
Yeah.
remind him to do that. You want him to just automatically do that.
That's
Otherwise, you wouldn't be dealing with him.
that's the double standard of the world, you
Yes.
know? And I feel like because it's such a double
Yeah.
standard, people pick and choose. They cherry pick on what part they want to accept and what part they don't want to accept. Because you're right. I mean, for sure. It's definitely why you see there's so many men out walking around here being feminine and shit. Like they don't want to stand up and be protectors or providers because for them, I don't know if it's being raised by their single mothers or what. They feel like a woman's supposed to do everything. I watched my mom grow up and raise me by herself and she made it work. Well, why can't my wife do it? Like, why would my wife have to stay at home, or why would my wife have to homeschool just because she wants to? Well, if my mom was able to do it and my mom didn't make any excuses, why can't my wife? So pretty much it puts them in the mindset of, I don't have to work as hard. As long as the woman is working just as hard as I am, then that's all that's important because That's what it really boils down to. But think about how much you're putting yourself in such a submissive state when you're thinking that way. How are you really
That's
expecting
real.
a woman to respect you when you
That's
can't
very,
even
very
carry
real.
yourself with respect? That right there already is a weak mindset. And that's why, again, so many of us are in these situations. We don't know how much our
Yes.
condition or our
You said a
programming
word,
from when
man.
we were kids literally takes effect as we become adults, because now this is acceptable. I don't have to worry about it. I know that she will take care of it, and I know if I can't do it, then somehow, some way it's going to get done. And for a lot of women are like problem solvers. They shouldn't have to be, because I feel like us men, because of us being logical thinkers and us being able to function the way that we function, we should be able to take care of that stuff. But we don't want to do that. We always want to call our moms or call our girlfriends and hope that they can explain it or do this for us. No. Sometimes you got to take the initiative as a man and say, you know what? Even if I know that I'm going to be wrong about this, let me still take this chance. Let me still take this leap of faith, because I know potentially just by me doing that and having good graces as I do it, it's going to get me what it is that I want. And that's one thing that I noticed that stands out the most to me. That's the difference I noticed between American men and African men, because African men, no matter what it is, they're always going to make the effort, take the initiative. They're always going to figure out a way to make something happen. American men are always going to be dependent. They're always going to try to see how either they can manipulate the system, how they can try to, I guess, maybe take
Mm.
advantage of this person, how they can get whatever it is they want based on that. But in the reality, is that really a man? Is that really what being a masculine figure is all about? Like, there's no greater feeling for me knowing that
Trust me.
I'm allowed to make a mistakes as a man, and I know that my wife will be okay with it based on the fact that she knows that yeah, she knows that I'm gonna put us in the best position possible. So there's no matter of self doubt, or there's no matter of, you know what, Amadou, I don't think you're gonna be able to make this happen. No. And that's what I'm talking about. That's where we have to be. We have to get to a mindset of where we can find confidence in who we are. We can know that we're well enough doing what we're supposed to do because it's what we've been taught and we've seen the results. Again, this takes me back to why it's important to make sure you set these examples for children when they're kids. Because when children have these examples, they know what to follow. They see
I
exactly
mean,
what it's supposed to
listen,
be. There's hardly ever any doubt
you
because
said
they
a word,
already
man.
know.
You said a word straight up and down. There's no better way that I can really say it. The only thing I'll say in kind of like to support that, or as far as my input, is like, listen, if that is what
Mm-hmm.
you are, like, have self-awareness. Know what your strengths are. If you as a man feel like you're not someone who can make decisions and whatever the case may be, or your manhood doesn't display in
Mm.
that way, there's plenty of women out here who like to dominate men and all that. It's real. I'm being real with you. There's plenty of those women out here. You know it's the truth. Like, it's plenty of those women out here, and you can go be with them. Like, it's just that simple. Like, it's not that deep, son. Like, everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. Some people's strengths cannot always, like, we don't all have the same strengths, son. Like, it's just that simple. Like, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because I firmly believe it's somebody out here for everybody. Like, it really is. It's just a matter of, like, not trying to fit a square into a circle. Like, don't try to make some shit work or try to
Mm-hmm.
make somebody out to be who they're not. Like, it's just, you can't do that. Both
Mm.
men and women. Like, you can't make a man to be like ferocious or whatever the case may be if he's really not that.
That's
Like,
deep.
if he's not that, don't try
That's
to
deep.
make him out to be that, because he's acting out of character and it's just going to turn into something else. Same thing with women. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
when they say you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, it's true. You can't. You really can't. And the other way
And
around too, you can't turn a housewife into like your personal slut. Like, it doesn't necessarily work that way all the time.
mm-hmm.
So you just have to play to your strengths and like be okay with that. Like, have that self-awareness and be
Mm-hmm.
one with it.
That's true. That reminds me of like how it is when you have like the love languages. I don't know if you've ever taken a test, but if you haven't, I'll send you the link on it. It's so deep when it comes down to loving people the way that they're meant
Mm.
to be loved. So much of what we do nowadays is forcing ourselves onto people. You know, if I know Lisa doesn't like to give me words of affirmation, or if I know Lisa doesn't like to do words of affirmation, I can't really expect her to love me the way that I want to be loved when I know that that's not what she's about. I can maybe give her examples of it. I can maybe show her this
Mm.
is what I like. But when you're forcing that onto people, it's like you're imposing your own will. You're hoping that because I love this, she better love to do it to me too. What? That's where the compromise comes in, because now you have to meet each other halfway and you have to figure out, well, okay, well, if she's only good at this temporarily, or if she's only good at this, you know, in such a small amount, maybe I have to accept it in doses. Maybe not all at once, but I can accept it bit by bit. And then this is where it starts to develop and you start to have a relationship. That's all a relationships are all about, forming a bond and working to see how well you can maintain that bond. And that's the crazy part. Again, we're not taught these things. So as you grow older, you start to learn them. You know that when you get in a relationship, the easiest part is to get a woman. But the actual hardest part about that part, or the the challenging part about it, is to maintain the relationship. Basically, you have to do everything in your power within each and every day to show that woman or to show that man that you're going to do what's necessary to keep them around.
Well,
And if
some
you're
people
not,
ain't ready
why
for
not
that
just
life
hook up
either.
with randoms and have one night stands every day and call
Got no
that a
spirit.
relationship? That's what I'm saying, though, bro. It's stupid. It's stupid. And this is why we don't really succeed, thinking that we're doing what we're supposed to do. At first, there's the honeymoon stage and everything's all sweet. And of course, it's sweet. It's new. Anything that's new is going to be sweet after a little while. And then after you had it for a little bit, you start to throw it around because it don't matter no more. You get complacent. You get content. It's not important. Look at kids with toys. A kid will play with a new toy probably for like at least about a few days, maybe even a week. And then after a week comes, they're already looking at the new toy and they want that toy too. And they're going to do the same thing. The cycle continues. And this is how we have so many adults that grow up that never have had the chance to be content. They always wanted something new, because when the old thing becomes boring or it becomes non-important, they no longer focus on it. They always want to keep it going to do other stuff. They always want to go and do this, and they always want to go and do that. Now they got to work on impressing them and doing tricks and doing handstands, all to try to make them happy. When in reality, you're chasing something that doesn't exist. Nothing out here is
That's
perfection.
real.
Everything has flaws. But how well are you going to accept those flaws to
It's
get
not
what you
rocket
want?
science, but a lot of people don't
I
have that
mean,
self-awareness. And then
it's
also a
not
lot of
rocket
people's
science, but
egos
again,
take like
this is
over
the
them. So like your ego will not allow you to keep it real with yourself.
mm-hmm.
And that's a big, like, both
Yeah,
men and women deal with that. Like men having an ego of, or
that's true.
delusions of grandeur about themselves and not
Mm.
realizing like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not for me. And like women having delusions of grandeur, thinking that, their vagina is really about to like be the end all to be all, and this is what's going to keep them, forgetting that every woman has a vagina. And yours might not be that special, shorty. Okay. But you know what's
Well,
funny about that?
in their
That's
eyes,
true,
they're
right?
probably thinking that
But
every woman
a
has a
lot of
golden
men are willing
vagina.
to try and find out if
That's
every
the
woman's
thing.
vagina is
To
golden.
me, that's also
so
what's
so
that?
so now what?
Uh-huh.
Every nigga's looking for
That's
that
real,
gold.
though. That's real. I mean, to be honest with you, that's why, again, to me, it's of course. But that's why you got to be realistic. I mean, you can't be out here just, ignoring what's reality and what's not. But that's why, again, you having the
Yeah.
scarcity mindset as a man is such a bad thing, because you're literally teaching that woman that no matter what I do to you, you always going to be here. You always going to be available to me. So why does it matter? She could cheat on you. She could dog you out. She could beat the shit out of you. She could do whatever she wants. And you still going to stick around because you think that she's the only girl in the world. And even though you may have the chance to discover it, you're still thinking, oh, well, I don't have to, because I know that she's going to be the only one available for me. And I'm always going to stick it out with the hopes that things will work. Bruh, come on, man. Life is way too
That's
short
real.
to walk around being miserable. If you're not
That's
happy,
real.
especially with the things you can control, something's wrong. That's what it comes down to for me. You know, like I've always told you from day one, I've been in plenty of those situations, but I had to realize that my self-worth is what is worth more than me sticking around those situations, hoping that things will change. I'll probably give you like one or two times to try to fix it. But if you can't fix it and you're making it clear to me that you're not going to fix it,
That's
again,
real.
not by your words, but by your changed behavior, that tells me everything I need to know. And that's it. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? There's not much else you can really argue as it relates to that. And Yeah, I'm grateful we're having this conversation because
Yeah.
I think that it's important that people hear this, especially since we always talk about this stuff. And of course, like I said earlier, we just don't record it
Yeah.
because it's never come down to that. But I mean, I definitely can see this being something that we can, look into doing more frequently, especially as more topics come up, because I think that it's a requirement almost. Like we have to get to a place where we know that it's okay to still depend on someone. It's okay to still have a partnership. You don't have to feel like, well, maybe I'm not going to have as much success if I can by being with this person and hoping that it won't work out. Like it's so crazy too because there's this meme that I saw and actually want to post it, and it was saying how men should never vent to their women. And a lot of women were saying, well, if a man can't vent to me, then why is he with me? Why is he with me? A lot of men cannot vent to women because those same
Mm.
women that may claim to want to be in agreement at some point in that man's life has shamed him for sharing his feelings. I can tell you how many times I've expressed a deep, dark
Mm.
pain that I was going through, whether it was my childhood or stuff dealing
Mm.
with my mom. And I've been told, oh, well, you should just get over it. Oh, well, that happened long ago. Oh, that's not important. Oh, you're just making excuses. How do you think that makes me feel as a man? I'm expressing my deepest, darkest fears to you, and you're literally invalidating my feelings because you don't want to handle that conversation to me. So, of course, I'm going to go to my boys naturally because, in some cases, your boys would have more respect or more love for you based on that compared to your own girl, which to me makes no sense again. You
That's
can't
real.
do so much that
That's
you are
real.
doing
I
in a
mean, look, I've
relationship
I've dealt
and
with
not
that
be
too,
able to
where the
come to
girl
that
says,
person and hope that
just
that
man
person will
up,
support you.
or whatever the case, and it's like, all right, well,
So,
sometimes like you have to understand like the environment that you create, right? And once you
wow.
say stuff like that, you create this environment of like, okay, it's not only going to be that I close off
Hmm.
emotionally. It's going to be in other ways too, because now I don't see you as that person that I can come to about any type of emotion. So I'm only going to show you the emotions that I want to show you. It's just that, yeah. And there's gonna be a time, because it happens every time with girls who do
Mm.
stuff like that, where they complain
And
and
it's
say,
never going to be
"Oh,
everything
guys
either.
need to open up more. African men don't ever show their emotions." It's like, well, you forgot when you told me to man up that I was acting like a bitch and all this other. You forgot that. You forgot, because when you say that, like, now I'm gonna be different towards you.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. And that's why exactly I said earlier too. Men have to get out of those spaces because again, this is why you have so many men saying, "Oh, well, she emasculated me. She, disrespected me." Bro, you disrespected yourself the moment you decided you were still going to tolerate it. If someone is coming at you, whether it's your girlfriend, your wife, or whoever in that space, you have the chance to correct it. And this is why men have to correct it. And like you were saying earlier, of course, we're in a space now where you can't, handle things the way you would handle them back home. Not that they were right, but that's how a lot of men handle them. And that's what our reality is for a lot of us here. So then we come into this space where you can be out in
Yeah, me,
public.
I can't
A
take
woman
that.
can
I
be
can't take that,
waving
bro.
her finger in your face, disrespecting you, cursing at you, yelling at
Like
you, and
me,
you just
the
sit there
type
and
of
take
person
it.
I
But
am,
what do
like,
you
and
teach
maybe
her
this is toxic, I don't know, but I
subliminally?
just can't
No
change
one
it.
should have to.
Like, it's hard for
No
me to
one should
change it.
have to.
I'll say it like that.
And
If a girl was to do that to me, I really would just stop communicating with her altogether. Period. That I would really just be like, all right,
mhm,
yeah, I'm good off of you. I'm not talking to you no more. Period. If you are willing to embarrass me in public and all of that stuff and
that's what
act
you
a
should do.
donkey like that, yeah, nah, I'm good.
Mm, that's important.
Matter
That's
of
why
fact, I
knowing
was
your
dating this
self-worth is
girl
so
before
important.
that,
I mean,
like,
I
she
get
used to
it.
do that kind of stuff
We want to be
privately.
desperate
Like,
to
she
be in these
always was trying to pick a
relationships,
fight.
but there's
Always,
so much
always.
more to life.
And
And whether
at the
it's
time, she would do it, like, for sex and stuff like that. But, like, it started to get annoying. And she would complain that I didn't take her out. And I'm just like, bro, like, why would I take you out? This is the way you act, like, privately. Why would I want to take you
mm,
out anywhere? Like, this type of behavior is unacceptable, especially in public. So I'm not gonna set myself up like that.
wow,
If you do this in public, I'll have no one to blame but myself.
there you go. See, so that's definitely necessary. I mean, it's not about being macho all the time or being soft, but I mean, sometimes you just gotta take a stand. And if you
Yeah.
announcing yourself and putting it out there that you're not tolerating that, that's it. That's fair. That's very valid.
Um, I mean, I feel like we went
So
over a lot this time.
we're
Like,
coming up on the end. Is there any closing remarks
I
you want
can't
to
even
make?
think of anything really. The only thing I can really say is just, just have some self-awareness, man.
We
Just
did.
keep it real with yourself.
Compl-
And I feel like when you're
Okay.
able to keep it real with yourself, it becomes easier to keep it real with others. And just things just become easier dealing with other people. You just know what you can and can't deal with. And like, it promotes growth. And also, people, don't be afraid of therapy. We need to get rid of that stigma of going to counseling and all of that stuff. Don't be afraid of it. Do it. If you need it, do it.
Mm.
Which is good.
That's
She
funny
needs
too,
to.
because Insecure on the last episode, I don't know if you got the chance to watch it. Molly's actually going back to her therapist. You know, yeah, with all the stuff that happened with Issa, I think that's so ironic that she now realizes like she
Yeah.
needs some additional help because whatever she thought she
Yeah.
had going on by getting mad at Issa for the concert when Nathan reached out to Andrew, I think his name is. Yeah, it just kind of shows you like sometimes what we think is normal or what we think is right really isn't.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
have an
because of
unpopular
our
opinion on
wiring
Insecure. I think
mentally, it's
personally,
not a
Issa's
bad
a
thing to get
really,
help,
really,
knowing
really
that you can
bad
have people
friend.
that could actually
But
help you.
that's
So
for
that's a
another time. We'll talk about that another time. Yeah, I think Issa's a piece of shit,
oh
honestly.
wow.
But
Wow.
we'll talk about that
We definitely
another
will,
time.
because I think the opposite. That'll be sweet. Wow. Oh. All right. So for my closing words, I pretty much just want to say, just continue to do what you guys do. You know what I mean? You find love and you find peace in what you love. Keep doing that. You know, love is going to be one of the greatest things that is going to help get you to the level of where you want to be. And it's not just based on the love you have for yourself, but the love you have for your family, the love you have for your kids, love in general. You know, I started to do these podcasts again because something in me just started to
Mm,
say, you know what? I have a baby that's coming probably within a few weeks or
mm,
2 months pretty much in July. And I just know that I have to start doing something that's going to show her who her father is. I mean, it's one thing to hear it from her mom or hear it from her sister or her brother, or even to see me explain it to her, but it's a difference when she can go in and actually have a part of history that she can cling on to. And she knows that, wow, my father was doing this and my father was talking about me and just talking about how excited he was. So this is what is going to be the foundation that I'm going to use to help get me to that next level. And that's what the love is all about. So I want you guys to continue to do the same and
that's a
continue to
bet.
stay tuned because, you know, we have
That's
more
a
stuff
bet,
that we're
man.
working on in
Always a
terms of the
pleasure.
reflection and getting it out there. All right. It's been real, everybody. And did you want to, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Most definitely. Did you want to,
Well, I mean,
I
with the
guess, give your
Instagram,
social media
my
handles? I
Instagram
know
is
you
Think
just have
Africa.
Facebook and
It's the
the Instagram
organization. We
page, but did you
travel
want to do any of that or?
to different African countries and stuff to try and get everybody, a piece of the culture and to also see different cultures and, understand that there's other options outside of America and just to, expose people to different things. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as like social media though. Nah, maybe.
I keep trying to get him to get on Twitter, but he's still sleeping. One day, one day.
For sure, man. Always a pleasure.
But
All
all
right,
right,
bro.
man. I thank you so much for
All
this,
right,
and I
bye.
hope that we can continue this